core of Digitalsmiths, we are a video indexing and analysis company where we create time-based metadata about a video asset, generally either television show, movie, film, or sports content. We focus exclusively in that tier. And what we'll do is use a variety of computer vision and speech algorithms and other data feeds to say, at this point in the video, we could tell you, who's in it, where it took place, the dialogue, the subject matter, genre, actions, all sorts of very deep amounts of data. And then we work with the content owners to use that data to either drive direct revenue or indirect through audience building and things of that nature.
So I'm a movie studio, and actually, do you have an example of a movie studio customer?
Paramount.
Okay, so Paramount comes to you with an enormous back catalog and library of movies.
Mm-hmm.
And so you will literally ingest movie after movie, and you can do speech to text, so you can kind of convert all the dialogue, and then you're saying you can also pick out that it's Brad Pitt or somebody else, and then I think somebody even mentioned that you can tell if he's sad or crying, or is that?
You know our pitch already.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll do things like speech to text. We'll ingest the script as well, so we get a lot of data from that if it's available. We'll do facial recognition and identification to do your example, like this is Brad Pitt, or this is Tom Cruise, or Angelina Jolie, whatever it might be. We'll also be able to say that this is a scene that was maybe a car chase, or took place at the beach or in the mountains, or it was a urban or outdoor, indoor, all sorts of environmental information. And then we might add some of the other things you mentioned, like, is this a emotionally high impact scene, and it's happy, sad, memorable, not memorable?
And is that taking cues off the faces?
It's all the data combined.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the things that we like to look at is say that if you just take a single dimension of data like speech, you only get a very limited picture of the video or of the asset, because all you can do is say the words or interpret the words. Whereas we put together multiple factors, face, scene, audio, video, all sorts of things, and by factoring in those multiple components, you get a very complete picture, kind of the picture's worth 1,000 words, and so with any one word of dialogue, you're only getting one word.
Yeah.
And that's one of our biggest differentiators versus some of the other people that do single dimension metadata.
And was this all homegrown technology? Because it seems like a lot of money went behind what you have.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to reinvent the wheel, but we have invented or built upon other inventions that have come before us. So our core computer vision team is a group of computer vision scientists that we pulled from places like NASA, FBI, academia, Fortune 50 companies, where they've done a lot of this research, and then we've invented things new based upon previous learned things.
Got it. So getting back to Paramount, so is your software and hardware and server farms, would it be on-site at Paramount, or would they upload it to your servers?
It can be either. Okay. So the actual architecture is meant that if somebody wants to send us assets, they can. And if for security or other reasons they need to do it on-site, we can implement everything remotely.
So it goes through the ingestion process. It becomes enormously discoverable in terms of, show me every scene where a happy Brad Pitt scene or a happy, whoever scene.
Yep.
How are companies like Paramount using that to their advantage?
There's going to be some announcements imminently right now about some of the things they're doing and we're doing. But to kind of generalize, if you said, I'm a person that wants to find a segment or an entire asset, and I'm looking for, Tom Cruise hanging off of a helicopter in an action sequence in a graveyard, we know that occurred in Mission Impossible. And we know the exact point in the asset, and then we could use that for a lot of different purposes. And it could be a direct, like I said, sort of revenue generating thing, or it could be that you're trying to drive somebody to say, I want to download that movie, or I want to buy that DVD set. So there's multiple ways that we're working, and announcement coming shortly.
And I'm assuming you can put that search capability either just in the hands of Paramount employees, or Paramount could even open it up to the world and say, hey, search our library, and then the terms and conditions of use of that footage will be presented to you once you find what you're looking for.
Absolutely. It could be a internal thing, like you said, or it could be a business or consumer application. And we kind of span all of those.
So, I'm thinking like an actor dies, and so CNN goes on the Paramount site, does a search, finds a bunch of scenes with that actor, pulls the HD version, and then can show them in their broadcast, and maybe pays a fee or something.
Absolutely. They'd want to acquire that content for news purposes. That could be a great example.
In September, you made an announcement about kind of improved search capabilities of the platform. Do you want to talk a little bit about what that entailed?
Sure. So it's something that's been in our Digitalsmiths Labs group for a while that Matt, our CTO and co-founder, heads up, where they've been looking at how do you search multiple dimensions of metadata. So not just text, like a lot of companies do, but how do you search visual cues like facial, scene, objects, all kinds of things all at one time, and come back with the result immediately. And the problem historically is that result would take minutes. It's just not a good user experience. What we did was we solved that problem, and it's one of the patents that we filed around being able to naturally type in, Tom Cruise, helicopter, help, and something else. We know you're searching for the person, the location, the dialogue, and maybe a couple other things very naturally, like you would in a Google type search, and we instantly come back with the result. And it's a very difficult technology problem to solve that Matt and his team did a really good job, and we've got it.
Yeah, it seems like you have a lot of kind of extremely brainy people.
Really smart group
doing
of people.
Some, and with my head hurting as much as it is this morning, it makes my head hurt just thinking about the types of things that they're tackling with their big brains. What are, besides movie studios, what are some other kind of big customer categories you have?
Sure. We focus a lot in the studio world and have been very successful in getting large bodies of content like Warner Television, a lot of the Telepictures properties, which are shows like Ellen DeGeneres, Tyra Banks, TMZ, Bonnie Hunt, Essence Magazine. So tier one media.
And TMZ would be a good example of just daily content production, timely, newsworthy stuff.
Yeah, you talk about scalability. There's probably few groups in the world that need the scalability like TMZ does, and then the back end of how do you support that? How do you ramp instantly when Michael Jackson passes away and you have millions of concurrent transactions per minute or per second even? Companies don't have to face that challenge, and that's one of the things that we've been able to do very successfully, rapid scalability.
So what would the TMZ workflow be with your tools and technology? I mean, obviously they have shooters all over the country following celebrities around, and then
shooters is a good way to put it.
Bringing it back, editing it, and then do they upload it to Digitalsmiths platform, or what's the next step?
They do. So we would ingest their content and then fully index it with the things that they specify, which are things like dialogue, people, places, and then make that data available for search and publish it, as well as actually give them a video player that's integrated with all the data, so that somebody wants to find that, we provide the experience, we deliver the video.
On their website? On their website,
okay. Yeah.
So if you go to so their website player is powered by Digitalsmiths.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
You go to tmz.com and it's our player, our video components, and then all the data that's powering the search and discovery comes from us as well. And we think it's a combination of those two, where there's a lot of player companies, obviously, and we're at a conference that's littered with video platforms. But I think until you couple that with deep metadata, you really have a less intelligent platform. So you bring the two together and you've got a complete distribution system that makes both of them more meaningful.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Do you have APIs, or do you connect with any of the other platform companies? So if the New York Times has a platform company, but they want to use your kind of brainy,
yep.
algorithms and...
We actually we have a couple different APIs for different purposes, whether it's just search, for example, or whether it's more like content optimization, search engine optimization, things where we can make that data available to anybody. So it could be a video platform, it could be a programming guide on a set-top box, an ad targeting system inside of a online or other ad delivery. So lots of different ways we make that data available for driving revenue.
So you're going to be on a panel later today. Do you want to just talk a little bit about what you expect to talk about, or what nuggets of advice and information you're going to deliver to that audience?
Sure. So the real focus of the panel is how do you collect all of your audience data, your behavioral metrics, and then sort of what the heck do you do with all that data? So we come in on the second half of that of once you've got all that data, and some of the data we help collect, but bringing the two together with all of the data we have, how do you then effectively monetize and say, now I know what my audience is doing, now I know about my content, let's bring the two of those together and build a plan to generate revenue.
And so when you're talking to companies or pitching companies, what's typically the advice you're giving them?
You need to come at the publishing process from a holistic approach of it's not just broadband, and it's not broadband as a separate business. It's an integrated digital media workflow that you absolutely have to have data. If you don't have data, you're publishing a dumb asset, and your asset is at a disadvantage compared to every other asset that we're involved with. So put all the data around it, look at ways to generate revenue today and tomorrow that you're going to leverage that asset. And once you make a blueprint of your asset, it can be used over and over and over again. You don't have to re-index it, every day or every year.